Hello everyone, in this tutorial we are going to discuss with a detailed demo that how can you go ahead and host a static website out of an S3 bucket. After that we'll see how can you go ahead and use your own domain with this website. And while we do this, we will look at two variations. The first one is using a third-party DNS which is external to AWS, right? And the second one would be how can we go ahead and do the same using ROUTE53 DNS. And hopefully we will be able to clarify that when should you go ahead and use a CNAME record and when should you go ahead and use an alias record. So I hope you're ready. Let's get into it. When you see a domain like this, we need to very clearly understand that what are the different parts of this. So the part which is there after the second dot, right, on the extreme right, which is .us in this case, that is top level domain, or TLD in short it is called. So you would have seen a lot of top level domains like .com, .in, .gov, etc. Right? So when we go ahead and buy a domain, what does that mean? For example, if I have gone ahead and bought this domain called CloudEasy, I would have selected the top level domain which I want, and then I selected a name in which I'm interested in, which is CloudEasy. So cloudeasy.us is the domain name which I bought, right? Whenever you go ahead and buy a domain name like this, what happens essentially is you get rights to go ahead and use all the subdomains under that, right? For example, this full thing www.cloudeasy.us is a subdomain, right? And in this way, I can go ahead and create even more subdomains if I like. For example, blog.cloudeasy.us. So I hope you are clear. Now let's move ahead. So you can see that I have got a domain here called cloudeasy.us, and there are some default records which are there already. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll go to this one, which is www.cloudeasy.us. I'll delete this. And I'll just go ahead and put a CNAME for www, and I'm gonna put some other website which is running out of S3 actually. So I'm just gonna say add. Okay, so I'll get rid of this one as well. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and try and check what happens. So you can see we are getting this error because in case of S3 website hosting, if you want it to work with a custom domain, your bucket name has to be same as that of the domain, right? So of course, that's why we are getting this error. So we'll try and do one more thing. Let's go to Ireland region. And in the Ireland region, let's just check this application load balancer is working. So I'll just go ahead and pick this thing and go here and say edit. So I say save. Okay, so now let's try and refresh this once again, and you can see this is working, right? So what you saw just now is that how I just went ahead and added a CNAME record for a particular domain, www.cloudeasy.us, right? And because of that, this is working. But if I try to do the same for the apex zone, or basically at the naked domain level, right, like at cloudeasy.us, can I go ahead and add a CNAME? That shouldn't be possible. In the meanwhile, first let me just open this. You can see that this is still working. Okay, good, no problem. So let me go here and say edit. No, let me just better delete it. Okay, so I'm deleting this. So now I'll go ahead and let's say if I want to create a CNAME record, Okay, can I do that? At this top level, if I say add, you can see you can't have a CNAME on the root domain. It violates RFC, will break things and probably cause your own personal space time to collapse. The idea is at the root domain level or at the top level, you cannot go ahead and create a CNAME record. There are reasons for that as part of the DNS standards which have been set up. This is not allowed. You can go ahead and try and create an alias record. Okay, so for this, let's see, and you can see it got created, right? So now if we go here, go to cloudeasy.us and we try to refresh this, you can see this website is opening up. Now if you normally go ahead and try to see, you will see all these different types of records like A record, MX record, CNAME, TXTNS. All these are quite standard ones, okay? Whereas this alias record is something which some of the DNS service providers have implemented it on their end, right? It's like an extension which they have done. So you are seeing that currently I'm using Pokeburn. It's a website which helps you register domains, and I'm using their DNS service, and it allows me to have this alias record. Same way, I will show you for ROUTE53 as well that we have got alias records, right? So that's really good. If you are using a DNS service which it doesn't allow you to use alias record, then there will be a problem. If you want to use your naked domain name, right, like cloudeasy.us, if I want to point that to some other domain, that won't be possible, right? I can very well do www.cloudeasy.us. That will be possible, but it won't be possible to do cloudeasy.us. So alias records actually solve that problem for us. All right, now I want to show you that how can we go ahead and host a website directly out of S3, a static website out of S3, and also how can we go ahead and use a custom domain in front of that, right? And it should be possible to do that whether you are having your domain name registered within AWS using ROUTE53 and you are using ROUTE53's DNS service, or you have registered your domain somewhere outside and you are using an external DNS, or a combination of these two, which means you have registered a domain outside but you are using ROUTE53's DNS service. So if you watch this video completely, you will have an understanding of all the possible scenarios, and hopefully you will not have any issues in understanding this whole setup. Okay, so what I'm doing here is because I want to show you this thing right out of S3, so I am first creating two buckets which align with our domain name. So I'm creating a bucket with the name www.cloudeasy.us. You can see I have unchecked block all public access, right? So with this, I'll just say yes, I acknowledge, and I'll say create bucket. Okay, so this bucket is created in US West 2 region. I'll go ahead and create one more bucket, right? And yep, block all public access removed. We'll say create. So two of my buckets are created here. You can see cloudeasy.us and www.cloudeasy.us. You know that the domain which we want to set up, or the custom domain which we have is cloudeasy.us, right? It's similar to if you go ahead and register something like google.com, or let's say if you register something like knowledgeindia.in, right? Just similar to that. So this is set. Now we will just quickly go ahead and set up the bucket policy, right? We need to set up the bucket policy on these things, on both the both the buckets. So we'll go ahead and do that quickly. Okay, say save. So this is done, and right now we'll just go to properties as well, and we'll go to static website hosting. We'll say edit, enable, and I'm just gonna say index.html, right? So for cloudeasy.us, and let's go to the other bucket as well, which is this one. We'll go to permissions and go to bucket policy. Go to properties, static website hosting should be enabled, and index.html. All right, we'll just say save. Okay, so both of our buckets are ready, right? You can see that this public access icon is also coming for both the buckets, and the static website hosting has been enabled. The only thing which we have to do next is that we need to go ahead and put some content right here, right? So we'll go ahead and upload a simple HTML page. If you want, you can go ahead and put, complete a static website if you like. All right, so we are gonna upload a file here. Okay, so this is ready. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and open this using this URL. You can see this is from the cloudeasy.us bucket. So we'll just click here, and you can see this website is getting loaded. Of course, when you are hosting a website out of S3, by default it will have only HTTP URL and not HTTPS. That's why you see this not secure thing. So what I've done also is that in this index.html file, I've mentioned the bucket name for us to just kind of know that from where it is coming up. Okay. All right. So what we'll do next is we will go to the other bucket, this one. We will go ahead and upload a file here as well. Okay, so this is done, and now we'll go ahead and open the URL from this. You can see the URL here, www.cloudeasy.us and then .s3 website uswest2.amazonaws.com, because this is coming from this particular bucket, which is www.cloudeasy.us. So I'm showing you both the URLs, and of course the content is slightly different. Okay, so I hope you are good till this point. What we're gonna do next is we'll go ahead and use these URLs as a CNAME entry. Okay, and currently our domain is registered outside of Amazon using a service called Pokebun, and here we will go ahead and just put the details. So for cloudeasy.us, this one I'll pick up, and here I'll say edit. Actually, yeah, edit should be fine. It has to be an alias record because it is at the top level. So I'll just say paste this and take care of removing the protocol, etc. Okay, so this is done. Now let's try and put cloudeasy.us and see what happens. So this is what it was earlier. Let's try and refresh, and you can see this is working. It is coming out of cloudeasy.us bucket, right? So at this point, just to summarize, we are using the DNS service outside of ROUTE53, right? I'm using Pokebun's DNS service, right? I'll also show you that how we can do this using ROUTE53 DNS service. Okay, whereas this one is still pointing to the old URL. So if we want, we can go ahead and pick this thing, which is for, the URL for www.cloudeasy.us. Pick this, come here, we'll edit this, take this one and put it like this. Say save. Okay, let's go and refresh this one. Doesn't go yet, so it might take some time. You need to understand that. So wait for some time and then we can go ahead and check this again. Everything is looking okay here, so we'll just go ahead and refresh this after a while. Okay, this one is working perfectly fine, you can see. So this one should also come up in some time. All right, so it just took a couple of seconds actually, and this is quite fast, right? Generally, when you are changing the DNS records, you will have to give some time for it to kind of propagate and reflect. But I think the service is performing really well in that way, that we are seeing the changes so quick. Okay. All right. So I think one part of it is done. Now let's say we want to do the other thing, like if we want to use Route53 service for the whole DNS work here. If we want to do that, we can still have our domain registered with POG1. I need not move it to Route53. It's perfectly possible. So what I'll do is I'll go here and we'll go to Route53. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to create a hosted zone. You can see DNS management, so we'll say create hosted zone. We need to give the name, right? Of course, so cloudeasy.us. Okay, it's fine. This will be a public hosted zone because I want basically that from internet, it doesn't matter where my client or my user is located. They should be able to use this DNS service to basically query cloudeasy.us domain and figure out what is the relevant address to go to, right? That has to be accessible publicly or over internet. That's why I'm using public hosted zone. Private hosted zone has a different use case. If we want that a certain DNS query should only work when it is coming from a VPC, then we go ahead and use private hosted zone. We'll cover that in a separate video. So I'm choosing public hosted zone and I'll say create hosted zone. Okay, it says it is successfully created and it is giving me, you can see here NS records, right? These 4 NS records. So what we need to do first is we'll have to go ahead and actually put these NS records in the DNS settings there. Okay, because that way you are telling that, listen, hereafter you need to use like these servers to kind of figure out further records. Currently, if I go here and let me close this, you will see authoritative name servers and there are some values given here 1 2 3 4. So we will remove this and we will put what we got from Route53. Okay, so let me pick that up and I'll go here and paste this. Okay, all right, so this is done. Now what we need to do is, now basically whatever DNS records we have here are actually of no use, right? Because you can see here it says your domain is not currently using our default name servers and this functionality requires it. So basically now whatever you have maintained here, it is showing up, but of course this will not be of any use because now the name servers which are mentioned are those which we have got from Route53. So basically for cloudeasy.us, now whatever records we are going to create here in Route53, that will get used, right? So okay, we'll go ahead and say create record, and we will create, first record. And for this we want to create an alias record, of course. So we'll say alias. As soon as we switch this on, you can see here we will start seeing an S3 option. So if we do this, we need to go to US West 2, right? And in US West 2 we have this one, cloudeasy.us, right? This website already hosted, so it is coming here. We'll just select this, and yep, we want to do simple routing at this point, so we'll say create records. So our first record is created, right? What we'll also do is we'll create a record where we'll say www.cloudeasy.us, and if we want, we can go ahead and create a CNAME record, and we can put directly this thing. We can take this and we can put it, because now we are not creating the record at the very top level, so CNAME is allowed. Or if we want, we can create alias as well, right? Oh, sorry, it should be a name and then we should select alias, right? So it will go to S3 and US West 2, and if you do that, you can see this www.cloudeasy.us is coming up, right? So we'll go ahead and basically select that. So looks like this name server change which we have done, it is taking some time. So we will revisit this after some time. We'll leave this setting as it is, and we'll check this after some time and see if this works. Ideally with this it should go ahead and just work, right? So the first part we had seen where we used the domain and the DNS service both from Pokebun. Now what we are trying to do is our domain is there with Pokebun, but the DNS service is there with Route53. So that's what we are trying to check. Whenever you are changing the name server details, it takes some time, for it to propagate. So we'll have to wait for some time, and after that we'll go ahead and check this once again. All right, so we waited for some time, and we also went ahead and added a record for abc.cloudeasy.us. This one is a CNAME record, right? And I'm sending it to one of our load balancers, whereas for cloudeasy.us and www.cloudeasy.us I have used a record, and within a record of alias type, right? Which is, of course, I discussed, it's like an extension or an extended functionality. So with this alias record thing, I was able to specify that S3 will be used, and I was able to select the relevant S3 bucket, right? While we waited for some time, all the DNS records are propagated and it is working fine now. So let me go ahead and show you this one, and this one in the browser. So you can see I'm refreshing it here, www.cloudeasy.us, and it is coming from here. The second one, which is cloudeasy.us without www, so you can see that is also working. And the third one, which is abc.cloudeasy.us, this is working from the application load balancer, right? So you saw that how we can go ahead and make things work in both the ways. We can use the Route53 DNS system, or we can use an external DNS system as well. I hope you also understood that when do we go ahead and use this alias record, right? Because the scenarios where we cannot put a CNAME record at the zone apex, that's where we go ahead and use an alias record. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this session. I hope you learned something from this. And if you'd like to watch more such videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon there. Also, don't forget to go ahead and check the video description, which will help you with all the relevant URLs which are useful in your cloud learning. Till we meet again, thank you for your time and patience. Bye-bye. Congrats on completing that tutorial. We have a lot more similar awesome tutorials on our channel which you can go through in the playlist section. Let us know what you think about our videos in the comment section, and if you like it, please do share it with your friends and hit the like button. Thank you.